Hello and welcome back, everybody, to the Sanderlanche podcast. Today, we are beginning a brand new book, brand new to us, not to the world necessarily, but
It's pretty new.
it's relatively, yeah. It's the first of the secret projects. We began reading Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. And we read chapters 1 through 7, in which we meet Tress and we meet Charlie, and we see what becomes of we see Tress set out on her adventure, essentially, which I think it worked out, the chapters that we read. I want to preface, before we go into introductions, since this is a new book, we're going to hit the same thing again. This is a full spoilers podcast for everything that we've read up to this point. So Mistborn Era 1, Mistborn Era 2, the first 3 Stormlight books, Elantris, Warbreaker, what else? White Sand.
Everything in Arcanum Unbounded.
Yeah, we've completed Arcanum Unbounded at this point, yeah. So any of that stuff, you may get spoiled for that listening to this. So if you have not read some of that and you're worried about getting spoiled, stop listening to this one. Go back and listen to the episodes where we covered whatever you haven't read and read along with us, and then you can come back. But I don't want to be spoiling anybody and get people all upset at us again. So that being said, right up front, I'm Data, and with me today is
Dak,
Joe,
and Jamie.
So hang on to something, everybody. The Sanderlanche is about to begin.
Daughter of the Dune, terror of the West. Sail the coast of Ireland with O'Malley on her crest. Sailors on the blue, shaking in their cots, feeling the foreboding of the terror that she wrought. Up the hull and away we go, stuck the galley of gold. Whack the devil again to blow, we matter above the hold. Dance along on the borderline, speed us over the waves. Back to back on the borderlines, to never shut out of the aim. Run away.
Just that new song that you just heard was, oh shoot, how do you pronounce it? It's like Granny Way. It's an Irish name, so I'm probably butchering it.
I think it's Granuale. Granuale?
That sounds right. I mean, he says the freaking name in the song, and still I'm unsure.
what's that one based on?
It is not actually based on a game. It's based on like an Irish folklore. The character in the Iron Druid series is named after this person, and I don't know how to pronounce it there either. But it's like in Irish folklore, she was like the pirate queen or something, and it's based on like Grace O'Malley is the anglicized version of the name, and that's much easier for me to say. But the Miracle of Sound guy, he is Irish, and so
I thought he was
also
Swedish. I don't know why I thought
he's Irish, but it's the song, if you go out to YouTube and find it, is labeled as Irish metal, and so that might give you an idea. There's a person playing the bagpipes like in the video. She's doing the bagpiping for the song, so it's like a serious thing. And I wasn't sure which song to use for this one, so I had a couple options, and I let the patrons vote on which one we should use for the book. And once again, the vote was pretty overwhelming. It was like 60% of the people voted for there were 6 or 7 choices, and 60% of the people voted for this one choice. So pretty overwhelming choice. It was one of the first ideas that popped into my head for the book also, but I wasn't sure that the Irish metal sound fit with the tone of the book, which is, as you guys might have noticed, kind of a lighthearted and tone, and the Irish metal is anything but light. But they seem the patrons seem to be pretty confident that this was a great fit, so that is what we're going with. So thank you, people on our Patreon, for helping me pick the one for this book.
Yeah, if you want to be involved in votes and polls and things like that might affect the show, you should join the Patreon.
It does happen sometimes. It's true. So, by Miracle of Sound, Granny Whale. Anyway, sorry, man. Sorry, Gav. I cannot say the name of your song correctly. But that's our song for this book. You guys will hear it for a little bit, for 9 episodes. In the meantime, what did you guys think of these? We did 7 whole chapters. I mean, they weren't super long chapters or anything, clearly, but what do you guys think of these 7 chapters?
This is one of those, like, as soon as I'm done with the first chapter, I'm just like, I got a good feeling about this book. Like, the voice in which the book is being told, I'm like, ooh, this is different. Okay, I'm enjoying this. And then when we get the reveal of just who is telling the story, I'm like, yeah, all right, that tracks. Because yeah, well, it's Hoyd telling the story, which is really cool. And I think, and I thought to myself, you know what, Hoyd telling stories in all the Stormlight books and in Warbreaker was like one like it was pretty much a highlight every time he does so. So I'm like, it fits that. Oh, we get a whole book of that. This is gonna fucking rule. So yes, quite enjoyed that. I think I appreciate like there's no stuffing around in this book. It's throwing us into everything we need to know, but not feeling like we're just ticking all the boxes. It's like Tress as a character, her boyfriend, their relationship is really cute, really sweet, but it doesn't waste any time getting into it, but also doesn't feel forced. So that's really cool. Her parents are really cool, but not without they're not outside. You know, this doesn't seem forced at all. So yeah, no, this just seems like a really fun little adventure already. This is our setup phase, and it's like, yep, let's do it. Just it, yeah, I really enjoyed it, and the way the story is being told is like, this feels really just fun.
It's definitely a different. I don't know that we've had a first-person narrated story in the Cosmere before, so
I mean, yeah, like it is first person narrated, but because he shows up for like all of about half a line, it's like
mhm.
it's not. Like, is it really first person if the narrator is barely there? Does that make sense?
I guess you might actually call it second person, which is even rarer because it's he talks about like you and like refers to the listener or reader or whatever several times.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
So yeah. Also, I like what you said about the mom and dad because they do feel like characters, but it's also like I feel like in Brandon stories you would generally get a lot more detail about these characters, and because Hoyt is narrating, he kind of he we kind of get the highlights and then we move on.
Yeah. It's like he gives us everything we need to know, but doesn't faff around.
Yeah, yeah. So that's interesting. Yeah, this is yeah. I knew that you guys right off the bat would be getting an idea about how this book was going to go.
It was kind of just like oh, I like the voice. This is like really interesting. I wonder, I wonder why this one's so different. And then it gets to like, yeah, me, Hoyd. I'm the one telling the story. Duh. And I was gone. There it is. Okay.
Yeah, that explains a lot, right?
Yeah, so I mean, it's always different getting into a new book. I know this about myself, so I'm just going to be upfront with it. It's always hard for me personally to read the first couple of chapters and be interested. So it did take me probably until chapter 3 or 4 until I was like, you know what, this is good. It always takes me some time with new books and worlds and things to be kind of like, huh? But there was a lot of fun stuff in here. There was some, the Hoyd being the narrator totally makes sense, especially with the tone of it. I do like the tone of books like this, where it almost reminds me of The Princess Bride, where it's like it's not taking the narration too seriously. It's a little flowery for my taste, but that's a personal preference. But yeah, I think the place where we ended is really like brought some anticipation for me for the rest of the book, because it's like, okay, she's about to go out on this adventure, and right, she's like the reluctant adventurer, but she's doing it for love. So yeah, definitely some Princess Bride vibes in this book for me. But yeah, I really started to enjoy it probably around the time that Charlie had to leave, and we get to that point where it's like he's sending her cups and stuff. I'm like, yeah, you know what, I like this. Tress is a fun character, interesting. I appreciate in my version on the Kindle that it has the art from the regular books. That's really cool to actually get to see the art for Tress, and then the one of her and Charlie. I was like, oh yeah, this is really nice. It's kind of putting me in like the world. It also, the aesthetic of it reminded me a lot of like the Fable series of games. And so I don't know if I'm just getting that impression from the art, but that's just what I get. Like that's the sense I get from reading it. So if anybody's ever played Fable, they kind of know that what I'm talking about as far as aesthetically, what's being pictured in my head. But yeah, the events of the story, the way they're unfolding, right now at least, it's they're giving us enough information and moving on, but I feel like a lot of it is surface level, so I'm hoping that we do get a little deeper dive into what's going on. But I'm very interested in the storyline, the sorceress, her getting on a boat and adventuring, leaving her home for the first time. I'm sure there's going to be a lot of like moments of awe for her where she's like, whoa, what's going on? So yeah, I'm excited to keep reading. It's been a good read so far.
Yeah, I like that you brought up the art because it would not be the same, I feel like, without... Actually, let me say, so each of the Secret Project books, at least the first four, I'm trying to remember if the fifth one had a similar. No, yeah, it did. Each of the secret project books, part of what he's going for is to be like an art showcase. There's lots of good art in each of them, and each one has an artist that is doing most, if not all, of the artwork. And so Howard Lyon, who's done some of the other stuff, he did some of the prints of the heralds in the Stormlight books that we've seen, but he does pretty much all the art for this one. And I saw him at the convention. He has like a portfolio of just like Tress art that you can buy, and there's some really lovely pieces in there. I was tempted, if it hadn't been like $100, I might have picked one up.
Yeah.
But yes, we start off with some very cool pictures, like you mentioned, and that will continue through the book as we get some cool art. So
Yeah.
that is something you guys can look forward to in all these.
I'm excited to go back into my hardback too, because I've had the hardback, but obviously I haven't cracked it. So it's like seeing the art on the Kindle. I'm like, ooh, now I can go look at it in the actual book and see what it looks like on paper. So
yeah, and I think because we got it through the Kickstarter, at least, like the digital versions of the books generally have all of the art except for, well, and I say except for, there's a difference in the Frugal Wizard one, because in the actual physical book, there's all this art in the margins, and in the Kindle version, it's not in the margins. They put all that art at like the end of the parts or the chapters, or I forget exactly where all the margin art gets moved.
Interesting. Okay.
But if you had the PDF version, that had the art in the correct places. So I remember halfway through that book having to somebody mentioning this, and I had to go back and get the PDF version instead so I could actually see the art where it was supposed to be. But
yeah,
they made an effort to make sure that all the Kickstarter people got the art digitally or in the digital version of the books too. So that was cool. But yeah, there's we definitely get a good introduction to Tress and her love and such. And like you said, and like I said, we kind of end this with like, oh, here goes the adventure. The adventurous who would kind of prefer not to is forced onto the trip, and so that's probably a trope, yeah, but interesting enough here.
I pretty much agree with what Dak and Joe have both said. I think this is a fun set of chapters. It's a fun introduction to a new story. I feel like, well, you look at it, you go, oh, 7 chapters, there's a lot of stuff. We're not cramming in quite as much, I guess, world knowledge as we are from, like, particularly Stormlight. So it was having to kind of retrain my brain a little bit to be like, don't look for everything everywhere. You're starting, this is a single novel. Just, it's probably not going to be as intense and as in-depth as what we've had before. But yeah, like I like the story. I like the characters. I actually really love Tress's dad. I think he's pretty cool. It's nice to have, I guess, a character, like the world is a bit off, you know, obviously all the spores and the stuff that's around that makes it almost uninhabitable. But like the people, except the main Duke, like they seem pretty solid, which is nice. You know, quite often you've got particularly a group that's quite downtrodden and having a really, really rough way of it. So it was nice. You know, they're not like well off necessarily, but they've got a loving home, and like that was nice to see. I think Brandon's done a really good job of like painting a new world. Like I feel like we haven't read all that much, but I can see it. He's done a really good job, and yeah, having the art to supplement that has been like beautiful. In that first chapter, to see like Tress with the salty tea and the moon, I found myself flipping back to the art a few times because I was like, oh, there's that little detail in there that I really hadn't noticed before. So yeah, it's beautiful. They're gorgeous books. Like, yeah, I almost feel a bit funny about actually reading it because it's so pretty. But I was like, oh, I'll download the audiobook, and then I was like, no, I won't. I need to see how gorgeous this book is. And I just like the whole thing, cover to cover. Not well, I haven't read past obviously where we are now, but just the detail in all the pages and like where you transition to the different parts and stuff. It's just stunning book. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing where we go with the storyline. It's been a great setup so far. We'll see what comes next.
Yeah, the detail is a good point. Like in the art and stuff, there is a lot of detail that if you're on the lookout, you can spot. I will also note though that I've heard positive things about the audiobook because the narrator gets to kind of, you know, play with this first or second person, whatever you want to call it, sort of style to the narration. So I've heard
Okay.
good things about that, but once again, I haven't listened since I don't do audiobooks. But just
I might have to do both. Just do them side by side. See how we go.
well, yeah, because that's the thing about the audiobook is I guess you miss the art unless you have like the download of the art with the audiobook, and I would hate to do that. So
Yeah, sometimes they do have, and it took me a while to discover it, but they do like a accompanying PDF,
Mhm.
which then has the illustrations, like at the end of chapters and things like that. So like Shallan's sketchbook and stuff, you could actually go and see it, but I didn't know it existed until like halfway through Oathbringer, I think it was. I was like, oh, okay. But I usually make a point of going to check the book and
yeah,
see what we're looking at.
probably smart. Yeah, you guys have the books, so yeah, even if you don't want to
Yeah.
read the physical books, you can always go back and look later and be like, yeah, let me open it up and see what was right there. That's a good point.
Exactly.
You just have to grab it from Dak, be like, give me that book. I'm gonna look at it now. Okay, well, I guess let's move into these chapters, y'all, since we got 7 whole ones to cover here. So it's, and I think in the postscript when we get there, he mentions that the Princess Bride is definitely like an influence on this book and the tone of it. Although I think Good Omens also, if you guys have read the Terry Pratchett Neil Gaiman book, is something he mentions. But it was clear to me pretty much from the get go that that's a similar tone to what we're getting here. And we get introduced, it's like in the middle of the ocean, there was a girl who lived on a rock, which is just very lighthearted, I feel.
Yeah, it's like it almost gave me like what is it called? The Little Prince vibes. It's like
oh yeah,
it's like a little guy who lives on a rock.
and he's like, it's not an ocean like you're thinking about, but we'll get there. Don't worry about it. And we do get there to some degree, yeah. So this girl is soft-spoken and overly fond of collecting cups, which is just a fun little character trait. And then there's the whole thing about like, why are men always describing women using food? Like, it's kind of weird. So it's like men would have called it all of her hair, all of these like food words, but it's light brown. Like that's good enough. And her actual name is Glorf. Don't judge; it was a family name.
No, I'm judging. Like,
I mean,
what?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that makes me think of Dorcas from the Bible. It's like, oh come on, it's Glorf, really?
we don't know that many other names from this world, so maybe that's kind of normal. But then again, the other main character we get is Charlie, which does feel a lot more
super normal name. Of course, her dad's name is Lem, which is not super normal, but yeah, Charlie and Glorf.
Maybe Lem feels normal to me because we've been doing Stormlight, and that feels like just a Dark Eyes name. Like,
Yeah, I can see that. And there's other guys in this book. It's like some of the other guys we meet. There's Rod and Jewel. And like, all right, yeah.
yeah, no, Rod at least that's a name that I've heard.
Yep.
Rod Serling,
The
They're all
Simpsons, Rod Flanders.
Oh yeah, Rod and Todd. I was like, wait, is there yet? Okay, yeah. I would say I think Lem is a name that I've heard somewhere also, but I can't.
I mean, it sounds like it's short for something, but
apparently in the Bible there's a Lemuel, and then Lem is the diminutive version of that word of that name. So.
Oh man,
I thought I was thinking
that's a name that could
yeah
make a comeback.
I thought it was more like Lammywinks or something, but that's good. I like Lemuel.
Lemmywinks, yes, he's on an adventure.
There's a Lem in A Song of Ice and Fire. Like he's a fun character.
Yeah.
Grumpy as shit, but I thought he was fun.
And so, but everyone calls her Tress because of the wildness of her hair, which is a definitely easier name to say as the main character of the book.
Which, I guess in world maybe that makes sense, but like the wildness of her hair saying Tress, like that doesn't make sense to me because I don't have context for it.
Well, a tress of hair, like that's
Is that a thing? Okay, well then that's my ignorance showing. I'd never heard that before.
Somebody's gorgeous tresses. I've heard that.
Really? Interesting.
Yes, in English, tress, the definition it gives is a long lock of a woman's hair. So
well, there you go. Joe just is ignorant of the word tress.
It definitely probably sells better than if the book was called Glorf of the Emerald Sea. That feels. I might not have been as tempted.
You don't think it would move off shelves quite as well if it was Glorf of the Emerald Sea? Have you heard that? Have you seen that new book, Glorf?
And let's see. We find out about the island, which they call the Rock. So that, of course, I have to hear Sean Connery. He's like, "Welcome to the Rock,
Alcatraz."
Alternatively, for the theatre kids, the musical "Come From Away" starts with the song "Welcome to the Rock."
Ah. Or if we've just left the Stormlight Archive, there's just rock, also capitalized. So
True.
there a lot of references.
But he's not the Rock. They have the Lopen. They don't have the Rock.
That's true. The Rock
Yeah,
is a wrestling
Dwayne
guy,
Johnson.
so,
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Dak's favorite.
Oh, you don't like old Dwayne?
I'm not a fan.
Yeah,
Not a fan.
I remember we've talked about this on the show before. It's like, as an actor, Dak is not a huge fan of this guy.
Well, I mean, to be fair, he does one thing. He's the Rock. Like he's not super. What's the word? Not permeable,
Diverse.
but yeah, he's not super diverse. He's not malleable in that sense. He's not a method actor. If
He
you
doesn't
take
have
my
a
meaning.
range, you think?
He's the Rock. But to be fair, I've argued, and a lot of people disagree with me. I've argued that Leonardo DiCaprio is also not that malleable. He's pretty much Leonardo DiCaprio in every film.
Oh.
A lot of people disagree with me on that, but that's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I mean, it depends on the actor. Sometimes if they're just playing themselves, if themselves is a fun persona to watch, like Arnie, then I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
But if they're not, like The
Right.
Rock, then I'm not.
I would argue, going back to Leo DiCaprio, I think the only movie that I was like, man, he's doing a good job is Django. He was really good in that.
I was just thinking, I'm like, I don't feel like Leo in Titanic is the same as Leo in Django. These do not feel like the same person to me.
Well, yeah, I mean, he was also much younger then.
That's true too. But I mean, yeah, some actors don't have a whole lot of range, but as long as they get stuff in their wheelhouse, they're good. Like, people would say that about Will Smith a lot. And I agree that when he's being Will Smith, the movies are definitely better. He's done stuff where he's doing other things, and they don't tend to be as good.
Yeah.
You probably put like Martin Lawrence in there too. He's kind of
Martin Lawrence.
Yeah.
Who's the one who's always hanging out with The Rock? Like, from Jumanji.
Oh, Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart.
Yeah, that guy. Oh my god.
Yep.
Yeah, not a fan of his.
Yep.
Jack Black weirdly maybe does have a little bit of range, but
I think he does.
He does. I to this day, this is a weird hill to die on, but like he never got an Oscar nomination for the movie Bernie, and that pisses me off to this day.
didn't see that actually.
He got a Golden Globe nom, and maintain he should have won, but that's me.
Yeah, I think Jack Black. I don't think there's a movie that I've seen him in that I'm like, oh, he shouldn't have been in this movie. He's pretty good, even in the third Never Ending Story, which is a terrible movie. Jack Black's good in that movie.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen anything but the first Never Ending Story.
Yeah, the third one's terrible.
They call it The Rock on maps. It's called Diggins Point, though no one remembers who Diggin is. And
maybe his first name was Glorf.
Yeah. Can you imagine Diggin, like his legacy? He's just like, oh man, this place will be my legacy, and they're like, nobody knows who that is.
Yeah,
it's still got his name on it. So, and we end like the description with, she likes to sit on her porch and sip salty tea from one of her favorite cups and look over the green ocean. Yeah, the ocean is green. Also, it's not wet, but we're getting there.
that was what I'm just like, wait, what the fuck?
That throws you off, right? Like, oh, what?
Yeah, ocean green. I can live with that. It's not
Right.
wet. Hold on.
Yeah, the ocean in Planet Namek was green. Like, it's a thing.
Yeah.
And then you get the first of the art pieces, which is possibly my favorite from the book. Oh, we can judge as we get further in. But I love this of Tress sitting on her porch and her hair waving. She's got what is clearly a copper mug, because you can see where it's starting to green from oxidation. And behind her is the big ass green moon with the stuff coming off it. We don't know what that is yet, but we're going to get there.
It's monster juice, like Final Fantasy VIII.
I knew Final Fantasy VIII was going to show up at some point.
Yeah, you gotta have a reference in each book at least once.
Those monsters are from the moon. Also, in Dragon Ball, there were monsters from the moon or something.
No, there was a rabbit that ended up living on the moon.
They had to send the rabbit up there, but I thought that was a whole. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
It does matter, but you're right. Let's move on.
We're firing on all cylinders today.
So, the Rock, the island, is a popular stop for ships coming through because it has salt, and it has salt mines, and it has a deep aquifer, so they can bring water up and refresh ships that are coming through. Both of these things are very important. And also there were deadly spores. Deadly spores.
It's like, let's just add that tidbit in. Deadly.
Diggins Point is near the verdant lunagree. And he's like, so the term lunagree is where the 12 moons hang in the sky above this planet in oppressively low stationary orbits. I like that wording, actually.
A lot of moons.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. And there's actually the symbol for this planet has popped up since this book came out. Like, I don't think it's actually in the book, but it's popped up in some other places. And it's basically like, oh, here, I'll show you guys the picture. These are the glasses that they gave out with, actually, these may be the set that you could buy. But anyway, at the con this year, they had this set of glasses. And they have symbols for different planets on it. You can tell the Roshar one, the Scadrial one, the Nalthus one. And then you have this planet, which is like a circle with a bunch of moons around it.
Neat.
And so when that symbol first showed up on something Brandon put out, everyone was like, wait, what planet is this? And it didn't take people long to go, it's probably the one from Tress because of all the moons.
Yep. Also, it's green.
Oh, yeah. The locals worship the 12 moons as gods, which we can all agree is far more ridiculous than whatever it is you worship. Hoyt's so sassy. And so spores come from the moon, like colorful sand, it says, and drop onto the planet at the lunagree, creating an ocean of spores. And the island is very close. It says 50 or 60 miles away from that lunagree. So you can see the fountain of spores pouring down from the moon. And so the vast seas on this world are made not of water, but of dust. Well, spores, but they're dust-like. And it says ships that sailed on dust, like the ships here, sail on water. And you should not find that so unusual. How many other planets have you visited? Maybe they all sail on oceans of pollen, and your home is the freakish one.
Funny joke, but at the same time, I'm like, but how does it work? Like, explain it.
How does the sailing on dust work?
Yeah.
It's funny because Brandon came up with the idea from watching like a YouTube video where someone showed how dust acts like water under some conditions. And he actually worked with that guy and like made sure that the physics in this book would work.
Interesting. Okay. So we're going to get more info, maybe?
We're going to get a little more here in the book, I think, if I remember right. It's been a while since I reread this one. But he made sure beforehand that, yes, it all does make sense if you science it. Also, another problem is that if you get the spores wet, that is when they become dangerous. Which was rather a problem considering the number of wet things that leak from human bodies even when they're healthy. And so the verdant spores, when exposed to even the smallest amount of water, sprout explosively, creating vines. So if you got some in your mouth, then vines might start growing down your throat or into your sinuses and out around your eyes. So extremely horrific, actually, that is said in very light tones.
Gone from like somewhat sort of charming and a bit weird to what the actual hell.
Yeah. It's like, oh, what a nice story. Wait, vines growing down my throat, coming out my eyes. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah. I changed my mind. I don't want to go here.
Yeah, no, it's not vacation there.
Seemed like a nice place until then.
Yeah, it's like, oh, what a lovely whimsical adventure. Holy shit, no.
So there are only two ways to render the spores inert: salt or silver. And so they live on like a rock of salt, basically, which protects the people here. And he's like, they teach their children this poem, Salt and Silver, Halt the Killer. An acceptable poem if you're the sort of barbarian who enjoys slant rhymes. Just gotta get a dig in.
Because he's on Diggins Point. Hey!
Oh, yeah, there you go. But basically, living on the rock kind of sucks. So there's a rule in place by the king that people are not allowed to leave the rock if they live there. Ships can come in and visit and, take supplies, get repairs or whatever. But the people who live there, they have to stay. And for her part, Tress is like, you know what? This place is nice. I'm perfectly happy to remain here my whole life. And that's the end of chapter 1. And chapter 2 starts with like, how weird is that? Like, she wants to stay there. She likes it. Where's her sense of adventure? Well, he's like, I'm sure you're asking all these questions. Well, this isn't the part of the story where you ask questions, so kindly keep them to yourself.
Who is he telling the story to? Where is he?
This is an excellent question. And
this
I will
say...
say...
story for questions, I know.
Yeah, well, Uh, I will say that when I first started reading it, I assumed that he was just telling it directly to us, the audience. But if you pay attention throughout the book, you will get hints about in universe who he is telling the story to.
Ooh, fancy.
Fascinating.
So
Fascinating, Captain, and logical too.
that we need some help. So she's got her parents, she's got her little brother. It says she considers herself categorically boring. She likes her tea lukewarm. She doesn't litter. She was fair at needlepoint and had a talent for baking. She didn't train at fencing in secret. She couldn't talk to animals. Had no hidden royalty or deities in her line, though her great-grandmother Glorf had reportedly once waved at the king. It's just... Anyway. And she has her cups. She likes her cups that she gets from various people who come to the island. In the process, we find out there are 12 oceans where the spores are different colors, crimson, azure, even golden. And she gives the sailors pies in exchange for cool cups and things.
That's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always I'll tell you, these chapters made me hungry because there's a lot of food talk.
There is, it's true. She has like pigeon pie and things. And each time she gets a new cup, she goes to show it to Charlie. Charlie claims to be the groundskeeper at the Duke's mansion, but he was actually the Duke's son. And it's just hilarious when we go and meet him, just how ridiculous and transparent his lies are. Like, she shows up because her job is washing windows. So it's not the day that she's supposed to come to wash windows, but she has pies to bribe the guards with, so it's fine. And she goes to talk to Charlie, who's doing his fencing practice, and then has to pretend when he sees her that, oh no, yeah, I'm just gardening, even though there is no garden on the rock. There's a few plants in like pots, but that's all the grounds that need to be kept.
We used to have a tree, but it died.
Yeah, there used to be a tree, but this is an island of like, salt.
Yeah. I don't know why they even
surprising.
took a tree there. They're like, it's just gonna die.
Right?
I mean, from what we know of the Duke, he absolutely seems like the sort of doofus who'd just be like, I will make this place beautiful. Bring me in my tree and plant it there. And they're all just like, it's going to fucking die, you moron. I don't care. Do it for me.
Trees for everyone, except for the ones that I don't like.
No, trees for the rich, which is me.
Which is
And I'm the
me,
only
yeah.
one. More wine.
I say, my monocle fell in my brandy.
Bring me another.
I think
Give this one to the cat.
It's the cat. It's cute that Tress is like, yeah, he's not a good liar, and that's part of what she likes about him. His lies are so bad that you couldn't really hold them against him. And then we get the picture of her giving him a pie. He's like eating a hand pie. And this one is interesting because of the coloration, where it's like everything's washed out except for the bright green, because we're on the verdant sea or whatever. Oh, and she brings her the new cup, or she brings him the new cup that she got to show it off. It's a tin cup, and it's got writing that she does not know. And he goes, oh, this is old Iriali, who, hey, that's some people.
Yeah. I was
Yep.
like, Stormlight, what's going on here?
The Iriali vanished, their entire people, poof. There one day and then gone the next.
The Iriali, but they were the ones in the Eyrie from Secret History? Was that them?
No,
The Elantrians?
those were Elantrians in the Eyrie.
Well, yeah, but like,
Yeah.
the word was theirs, but even though they were Elantrians, they were...
No, the Eyrie is actually an Aeon. It's IRE.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Pissed. I thought there was a link. I thought there was a link. Disregard.
No, the Iriali, we've seen them before. They have, the gold hair and Stormlight, but also they have the story about how, like, Roshar or whatever is the fifth world or something, and they're traveling, like, along this path that they have to get back to, like, some world. I don't remember exactly.
So maybe they were on this planet at some point. Very interesting. And maybe the disappearance would then be just moving to another planet.
Yeah, I think that is the implication that we're supposed to take from it.
Cool. I'd forgotten that story till you said it, so makes sense now.
He even mentions they supposedly had golden hair like yours. The color of sunlight. She's like, that's not the color of my hair. It's like, well, your hair would be the color of sunlight if sunlight was light brown. So.
It's whatever your imagination wants it to be.
Good try, Charlie. Good job.
Yeah. And so he kind of makes up a story to go along with this cup. And that's like why she brought it here, because she loves this sort of thing. She loves his stories and how much he talks. Apparently, it's an issue with most people that this guy talks a lot, but she's into it. Also, I love when Hoyd has to like make commentary on stories themselves, where it's like, Why is it always fair maidens getting captured? Are there maidens that are unfair? Maybe it's like FARE fair as in food?
I love that. I love it. Just is. That's a very Hoyd thing to say. I feel like it's just like, why is it always fair means?
That was what Tress said.
Tress does say it, but Hoyt's telling the story, so I feel like anyway.
Okay.
But you're right. They're both good.
Yeah. And she's like, I'm really glad I'm not in the story, Charlie, because I'd end up getting captured for certain. And Charlie's like, well, and I'd probably die because I'm a coward. And then there's a whole thing about armor and shining armor going off to rescue the maidens. And he's like, do you think they take time to like polish up their armor? I feel like if I was off to rescue a fair maiden, I wouldn't waste that time, but whatever. And we find out that, there's the one really sad note. I don't remember exactly where it is, where she talks about like how at some point she realized that her mother was getting super skinny because she was giving up her food to feed her children. And so Tress took over the job of shopping for food, and she has techniques to kind of stretch the food more by basically buying food that other people think is bad, but or about to go bad for cheap. Like in this case, she got some salmon because the guy thought the fish in that barrel had gone bad, but it was actually the fish in the barrel next to that barrel that were bad. So she got it at a great price.
She's savvy.
Yeah. And then the chapter ends with like, he didn't listen to her only because he was fascinated by the lives of peasants, and she didn't visit only because she wanted to hear his stories. In fact, on the deepest level, it wasn't about cups or stories at all. It was instead about gloves. And we get this whole metaphor for like this relationship with Charlie, like being like a set of good gloves, which kind of seems out of nowhere. And then later on, it pays off within these same chapters, which I thought was cute. So she has this thing where she's like, I think I'm in love with this guy, but love is like hearing other people talk about love. It's this very weird, scary thing filled with jealousy and insecurity. And so I don't know if I want that. There's also a great bit somewhere in here where she talks about how all the other girls are always like, I'm not like other girls. And so they were all so good at being unique that they did it together.
Deftly done.
So true, though.
And there's a moment where like they touch hands, and she's like, oh, I should say something like, I like you. And instead she goes, hands are warm. Also feels just a little too real, honestly.
Yeah. It's you know what? She did okay. It's all right.
But unfortunately, the Duke has witnessed this. And the Duke, she talks about all the different smiles Charlie has and how the Duke just doesn't smile at all. And then the look on his face is very ominous as he disappears after witnessing this hand-holding that they're doing. And she was like, it'll probably blow over. It's fine. And then we end the chapters like, she was wrong. The Duke sent out a declaration the next day saying that he and his family were leaving the island that very day. And of course, people who live on the island aren't allowed to leave unless you're important, like the Duke or the other royal officials. They're allowed to leave. And so the announcement is that the heir has come of age, and we're going to take him off for betrothal to princesses of the civilized seas. We're going to find him a bride. Now, Tress was a pragmatic young woman. She only thought about ripping her shopping basket to shreds. She merely deliberated whether it would be appropriate to swear at the top of her lungs. But she's so upset about this. She's like, I just acknowledged how I felt about him, and now it's all done? Love really does suck. I was right. She was to receive all the detriments of a romantic affair with none of the advantages. That's sad.
Poor Tress.
And so she goes down to basically watch them board the boat. And Charlie spots her, and he's like, oh man, I thought I wasn't going to find you in time. And he makes a promise to her. Like, first he admits, he's like, oh, I have to tell you, don't be mad, but I've lied to you this whole time. I'm really the Duke's son. And she's like, amazing.
Yeah, I knew that. It's not that hard to figure out.
Wait, did you seriously think I didn't know?
This is brand new information.
Also, like, I would, if I was Tress, I'd be a little insulted to be like, do you think I'm that stupid? Like, I know you're the Duke's son.
It's like, I thought we had the understanding. It's like, I honestly thought in their previous conversations, like, he knew that she knew and was just trying to, like, I can't come out and say it, so I'm dancing around it
right
for our benefit. And then you get this, but it's like, wait, did he seriously think she didn't know? What?
I've always had the same assumption. And to further that, I assumed that the admission here is just because he's like, let me make sure we're both on the same page about about the like, I haven't really said it and you haven't really said it and nobody's really like said it out loud. Let me just make sure we both know what we're talking about.
But I do like when he starts talking, he calls her fair maiden, and it's Fare. And like my mind went to, if that dude from, was it I Hate Dragons, that short story, who can hear
Yeah.
grammar, if
Yeah.
he was here, he'd just be like, oh my god.
Call back. That's true. I hadn't thought about that.
And I haven't read it.
Oh, that's true. We read
Oh,
that
that's
while you were
right,
on
yeah.
baby break. Yeah, that was one of the little weird things that we picked up for that. You
I
can
think
go
you'd
read
probably
it if you want. It's super short.
It's fine.
It's actually in Tailored Realities, the book that came out at Dragonsteel this year. So,
Oh, neat.
yeah, it's a collection of his non-Cosmere shorts. So that one definitely pops up in there. I mean, maybe he really did think she didn't know because he goes, "Oh, are you angry at me?" And she's like, "Angry is way down the line in the things I'm feeling." And so he's like, "Yeah, I'm going to be married to another prince, or another prince. I'm going to be married to a princess of some nation or another." And she goes, "I wish that you wouldn't do that. Get married to someone else." And he's like, "What, really? I mean, I'm sure they're very nice, the princesses." And he's like, "Yeah, I think it's part of the job description. They have to do things in stories like resuscitate amphibians and notice for parents that their children have wet the bed." I'm not sure I get that second reference, honestly. I don't know what story that is.
Did he fundamentally misunderstand the Princess and the Pea?
It was the Princess and the Pea. You're right.
Yeah,
I
it's gotta
got
be
that
it.
the first time I read that, and I forgot it until you mentioned it. But yes, you're right. That's meta. Okay. And so he tells her, "You know what? I won't marry one of them." And she's like, but I don't think you get a choice. Your father's going to marry you for politics. It's like, but I have a secret weapon. I can be incredibly boring. And she's like, "That's not a weapon." He's like, "Oh, but it is in courtship. You know how I go on and on and on." And she's like, "But I like how you go on, Charlie." He's like, "Yeah, okay, you're a special case. Well, it's kind of silly, but you're like a pair of gloves, Tress. Don't be offended." And she's like, "No, wait, I get it. Like, I'm on the same page as you."
Oh, this was so adorable.
It's adorable. Somehow they were both thinking this super specific metaphor for their relationship.
It's like, man, like these two were just fucking made for each other.
Right? And so he's like, "We're going to go out there and every princess I meet, I'm going to bore the hell out of her until she can't stand to be around me for a moment longer."
Actually genius.
I mean, yeah, it seems to work for a while at least. So, good on you, man. And he says that at each stop, he's going to pick up a cup and send it to her after he's bored the princess so that she has like incremental proof that he of his loyalty to her and how successful he's being, which is also very cute, I feel like.
Yeah.
She likes cups. He's like, "I'm going to send you so many cups."
And so he goes off to sail the various seas and meet lots of princesses, and she goes back to, life on the rock.
Her last words to him, "You are my gloves too." I'm like, oh.
Aw. And then later she kind of regrets not saying, "I love you" or something, but I think he got it.
Yeah.
And that's also where we find out it was an enormous relief when the first cup showed up, delivered by Hoyd the cabin boy. "Yes, that's me. What tipped you off? Was it perhaps the name?" There we go. Hoyd is in the story very briefly.
All the readers become Leo, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, they do the point at the TV thing.
Yep. There he is. I saw him. And there's a letter talking about like how he listed the various sounds his stomach made as he laid in different positions during the night to get the princess away. And she's like, "Fight on, my loquacious love."
Hold on. After that, he followed up with like how he kept and named his toenail clippings.
Okay, yeah. I was not going to get into that part of it.
You are not skipping that.
Yeah.
I mean, we could have skipped that. That's pretty gross.
It's pretty gross.
No, according to Tress, it's only mildly gross.
Yeah, she
that's
says,
true. Mildly
"Be brave,
gross
my
love.
mildly gross warrior." Yep.
Warrior, that's what it is.
Gross.
What?
Grossness aside, it was effective.
Yeah. What a title too. My mildly gross warrior.
Yeah, it did the job, as Jamie points out. So what else can you ask for?
Can you imagine if that was the title of the book? My mildly gross warrior.
Yeah, that'd be a good one.
You know what? I might be okay with that. Yeah.
Yeah. Tress. It should have been Tress of the Emerald Sea and her mildly gross warrior. That's a long title, but I would have
Yes.
done it.
That's. I mean,
Yeah.
Glorf
the
and her
Smuggler's
mildly
Wizard.
gross warrior. Good.
Actually,
Actually,
addition
yeah,
there, Jamie.
I buy that more. It's Glorf and the gross. Yeah. So the first cup is a porcelain cup, a very pretty porcelain cup. The second one is pure glass, red, tall and thin. Looks like it could contain more liquid than it actually did, which is such a random note, but I like it. And then we get.
I thought that's like, is that like a wine glass? So it's got this really long stem, and the liquid doesn't go into it.
Oh, it could be. I didn't think about that. She gets an enormous pewter tankard as the third cup. The fourth package's card included no letter, only a small drawing of two gloved hands holding one another. Aw. And then a cup with a painted butterfly on it flying over a red ocean. Which she's like, okay, well, that's weird. I feel like that butterfly would die. But and that's actually, Brandon sells a cup, a Tress cup on his website. And it is that cup.
Cute.
Let me see if I won one of them actually at when I won second or third place in one of the trivia rounds at the convention.
Nice.
So
What's it made of? Is it porcelain?
it is ceramic.
Hmm.
Okay.
Hold on. I will share a picture of that with you guys since we're talking about it. I actually already had one. I bought one when they came out, but
Oh, that's super pretty.
one of the cats knocked it over and chipped it, and so Jennifer insisted that I pick that as the prize when I had the opportunity so I could have a complete one.
What were your other choices?
Oh, that is pretty.
Man, I actually don't remember at this point what the other choices were. I also won another bag, like the toiletries bag that came out in the during the year of Sanderson in those boxes. So I already had one of those, but it was the only option left by the time I was able to get my prize in that round. So I was like, here, you can have this. It's actually a really great toiletry bag. I gave it to her. But yeah, very pretty cup. I'm glad to have one that's not broken now. But the fifth cup never arrived. And months went by, and she was very sad. And then they got a note from the Duke that he was returning to Diggins Point with his wife, his heir, and his new daughter-in-law. And she's just like heartbroken. Also, I will take this moment to say, I don't know if you guys noticed as you read through the book, but each chapter header, the number, the image changes slightly with each chapter.
Yeah, it looks like a seed, like sprouting. Yeah.
Yeah, seed falls down and then begins to sprout here in chapter 5.
Oh, I had not noticed. That's cool.
I didn't notice it, I think, until like partway through, like a third of the way through the book or something. I was like, oh, hey, that's kind of cool. Yeah. I think because I recorded my reactions to this for the Patreon, there's an episode of the Patreon at some point where I'm like, wait a second, I missed the whole book so far. So listeners, if you haven't heard that, you can go out and listen to the moment when I discover it.
Yeah,
And so
that's true. This is the first. Did you do reactions for the Lost Metal?
Yeah, I think I did.
Oh, okay, I was about to say this is the
feel
first
like-
book that they can hear you react while we're also reacting, but I guess that's not true.
Yeah, I know the very first one I did was the last of the Alcatraz books, but I think the Lost Metal may have been after that. I'd have to go back and look to be sure. So she's talking to her mom. She's got that last cup Charlie sent her, the one with the suicidal butterfly. And, she's just heartbroken, talking about love. And I finally thought of what I should have said to him. I should have said that I loved him instead of telling him that he was gloves. And so she tries to be happy. She's like, I guess he found someone that he liked. And so he's going to he married her. And, I try to be happy for him. It says, with effort, Tress was happy for him. And the Duke announces after they arrive, I present my heir. And it is not Charlie.
It's like for a whimsical adventure, this is just like a roller coaster. It's like, oh my god, Charlie broke his promise. Wait, that's not Charlie. Where is that? Where is Charlie? Holy shit, what's happening?
Yeah, it was this whole chapter is real good. Like she's like sees the girl and she's like, well, she's very pretty. I mean, she's like, what you think of when you think of a princess. And then she's like expecting Charlie to walk up. She's like, wait a minute, who's that? That's not Charlie at all. Wait, he's been sent to a sorceress. What?
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming for sure.
Yeah, another Final Fantasy VIII reference, sorceress. You know,
That's true. The sorceress is scary until
Yeah,
it turns
there's
out
two
that
of
she's
them.
not. Yeah, I mean it's a whole thing. Anyway,
go
We don't
play
need to
Final
recount the
Fantasy
whole
VIII if
story
you
of Final
haven't yet. I
Fantasy
mean,
VIII.
yeah, exactly. Go play it. Why are we talking about it?
you don't have to play like Sphere Break or whatever, but the rest of it.
It is called Triple Triad.
Triple Triad. Sphere Break was a different one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that was Final Fantasy X too. That was a weird like coin game.
Yeah. You're right. I guess it makes more sense. There's a lot of spheres in 10.
Yeah,
And
there's
10
also a card game in Final Fantasy IX called Tetramaster. It is not good.
I like it more than the 1 in 8, but maybe that's just because the 1 in 8 the rules change so freaking often.
Yeah, but
And-
you can metagame that and make it to where the rules don't change.
Yeah, it can be tricky. Sometimes you have to go a long way to get them back to where they were if they've accidentally changed somehow. But
Yeah.
Anyway,
Go play Final Fantasy VIII. Why are we still talking about it? Let's go.
Go do that thing. Don't grind levels though. Final Fantasy
don't do
punishes
that.
you for that.
Yeah, the monster scale with you. It's a whole thing.
Anyway, the new guy is not Charlie. He's a 6.5 foot tall, square jawed mountain of a man. It says she swore she could hear the seams of his shirt begging for mercy. And the Duke says there was an unfortunate accident and I had to adopt my nephew Dirk and appoint him as my heir. Great fencer. Responds to questions with single sentence answers, sometimes just one word. And we get again, which I skipped earlier when it regarded the Duke, but in this world, your status as a war hero is dependent on how many men under your command were lost at a particular battle or other. So
That's super fucked up.
yeah, I know, right? I think it's just commentary on the world.
It's. I wonder if it might be Hoyd playing it up a bit.
Yeah, probably. He lost 10,000 men in the Battle of Lake Privy, which doesn't sound like a great.
I was gonna say, what the fuck? Like, for all right, listeners, if you're not aware, privy also means toilet. So this dude lost 10,000 dudes in the toilet battle.
The lake toilet battle.
Yeah, the Battle of Toilet Lake.
Yeah.
Toilet Lake. Now there's a place I don't want to go.
Also true. Yep.
Ooh, there's corpses in my toilet.
If there's any place worse than just going to this world with the super deadly spores, it's going to Toilet Lake on this world.
Yep.
And I love that Tress's mother standing next to her is just like, 10,000. Wow, that's a lot. And the Duke's like, now we're going to all celebrate his marriage to the Princess of Dormancy, which it's like a sleepy.
Yeah, Sleeping Beauty. Got it.
And the crowd is like, it says the crowd remains quiet and still confused about, the sudden loss of Charlie. And then the Duke says, I brought 30 kegs. And suddenly everyone cheers and the party is on.
I brought 30 kegs. My monocle's in one of them.
And so between Tress and her mom, they talk to some people and find out the story of what happened to Charlie. It was not an accident. And I love the guy that she talks to, one of the Duke's servants, Flick. He's like, he tried so hard, Miss Tress. You should have seen him. He did everything he could to put those women off. He memorized 87 different types of plywood and their uses. I thought they had him at the Fifth Kingdom because that princess was deaf, but then he threw up on her at dinner.
Gosh, I like Charlie. He's so cool.
He knew what he was about and he committed.
He did. But then the Duke figured out what was going on and got kind of mad. And the Duke and the King conspired to send Charlie on the Midnight Sea beneath Thanasmia's own moon, and the sorceress took him. And like he says like he sailed the Midnight Sea, and Tress is like, why would he do that? And he's like, well, I think it's probably because his father forced him to.
Why would he do that? Well, he didn't have a choice.
Well, all right. One more thing to put in the file of no shit Sherlock.
So the King and the Duke sent Charlie theoretically to marry the sorceress to make peace with her or something, but really, like, they just sent him to die because he was an inconvenience to their plans. Not only that, but the sorceress sent back a ransom note, and the King and the Duke like, nah. It's a trick.
It's a trick to get us to sail over there. Which doesn't make sense in a lot of ways. Also, what is the game of the king and the duke here? Like, why does the king care about the duke and the duke care about, like, I get why the duke cares about the king. Why does the king care about the duke? Like, what's up with that?
That's a fair question. We don't know much about the relationship between them. Maybe he's also committed to having a strong heir on to this dukedom. I don't know.
To Salt Rock. Gotta have a strong heir to the Salt Rock.
Maybe it's because he actually just hates the Duke and wants him back on the Salt Rock and not leaving. So it's like, if I keep him happy, then he won't come bother me anymore.
Yeah, it's a possibility.
And we're told the Midnight Sea is the most dangerous of all of the seas. And to get through it, you had to cross the Crimson Sea, which is only slightly less deadly. So that's like, I think there's 12 seas, and apparently 2 of them are horribly deadly. So not that it sounds like the Verdant Sea, the green one that they live on, is also pretty dangerous.
Are there any seas on this planet that are not dangerous?
Right? Yeah. Does one of these spores, do something great that won't kill you? Who knows? And I love it's like they describe that someone had to stop the sorceress from raiding, and Charlie was the obvious choice for reasons. There you go. And yeah, she finds out from the Duke's steward that yes, a ransom letter had been received, but no, it's probably a trick. So the king just goes, "Yeah, he's dead. Well, I'm declaring Charlie officially dead." So, ouch. And eventually she works up the courage to go and talk to the Duke himself and try to convince him to, do something. And the Duke calls her a hazelnut-haired strumpet and forbade her from washing windows anywhere in town. So she loses like the one job she had. And after a couple months after the Duke gets back, she's been so upset, like nobody cares about Charlie, nobody's going to help him, nobody's going to do anything. And then after 2 months, she's like, wait, you know what? There is somebody who cares. Me. So I guess I'm the only one who is willing to do something. I will have to go and rescue Charlie. Which is the end of part 1 of the book, and I feel like a nice dramatic moment to end that part on.
Yeah.
And so we start part 2, and Tress has made her decision, so now she's going to figure out how to get it done. It's like, how am I going to get off the island? How am I going to cross the most dangerous seas in the world and rescue somebody from the sorceress? I don't know, but I'll figure it out. And so she sits down with her parents, and she explains the situation to them over some quail egg pies, because it's more difficult to object to your daughter's temporary insanity when your mouth is full. And while her mother is just like, no, this is crazy. You can't do any of this stuff. Her dad is like, I think we have to let her do it. Like, wouldn't you say our daughter is more practical than we are? And her mom's like, yeah, usually. And more thoughtful than us. She is always thinking. And how often does she impose upon people or ask for what she wants? Almost never. So, yeah, if she's decided to do this, it must be the right decision, I guess. I love his logic there. As silly as it is, it totally works for me.
It's like, oh, my daughter thinks things through, and she doesn't ever ask for anything. And it's like, yeah, it's like, look, I feel like we got to give this to her.
I don't know that I would want anyone putting that much faith in me. It would be terrifying.
You're like, please call me out on my craziness, please.
Yeah.
He's just a dad supporting his daughter's dreams.
Yeah, he's also. It would be funny if she's like, I actually don't really want to go. Can you make this harder?
It was your idea.
I know, but it sounded good at the time, and I'm scared.
Now that I've said the words out loud, it really just sounds like a bad plan.
Yeah, what am I doing?
What was the Futurama episode where they all got de-aged and teenage Leela went to live with her parents, and they're just like, okay, honey, you're the boss. No, I'm not.
Yeah.
That is Teenage Mutant Leela's Hurdles.
There you go.
That's a good one.
Classic
That
name of an episode.
That's one of the best episodes of the run.
Especially when fake Zoidberg dies.
That was his brother. Yeah. It's all good.
He always liked to be the center of attention.
And so Tress is worried about, what's going to happen to her family when she leaves. She's the one buying food and cooking for them. And they're like, yeah, we'll be fine. Don't worry about us. Also, that's one less person to feed. They could probably stretch the money more that way. I don't know.
She's the one making the money.
Well, she lost her job cleaning windows.
Yeah, so she was just
true.
doing socks.
Also, there's a a line here that like when I was reading it, I had to stop and read it out loud to Jamie. Just like, this book has won me over. It was like, a terrible idea executed brilliantly has to be better than a brilliant idea executed terribly. I mean, look at pelicans. Fucking
See, yeah.
lost my shit.
When
So
I
do
read that,
pelicans fit in the brilliant idea executed terribly or terrible idea executed brilliantly?
I feel like the terrible idea executed brilliantly.
I don't know. I feel like it could go either way, honestly.
Mhm.
Also, I don't know how pelicans live here in the horrible
The salt.
spore
Yeah, the
oceans,
salt
but-
area
Yeah.
with no spores. I feel like that's got to be Hoyd said the father said that, but he didn't actually say that.
It's Hoyd projecting.
Yeah, because Lem would like turn to the camera if this was a show, be like, "What the fuck's a pelican?"
But also the thing that from what Data said before, this doesn't just mean that that means that either Lem really said that and pelicans exist on Tress's world, or they don't, but they exist wherever Hoyd is telling the story.
Yeah, that makes more sense. Like he's trying to come up with something that would make sense to them. He like her dad actually
Yeah.
said like a horse knuckle, and they don't know what horse knuckles are, so they're like, "Huh?"
Yep.
Yeah, that makes more sense. I just imagine like Hoyd is telling this while he's on trial for something, and he's telling them the story to like say why what he did was okay, and like at that point the attorney's like, "Did he really say that?" And he's like, "I mean, more or less."
Maybe he's on 6 of the Dusk's planet where they have all these birds and they're all like really particular about their birds. So when he brings up a jab against pelicans, like everyone's just like, yeah, fuck those things.
Yeah, pelicans suck.
Burn. Take that.
I like pelicans.
Yeah, I have no problem with pelicans.
And her dad has a whole thing about like, I always wondered if this island would prove too small for you. And she's like, what? There's nothing special about me. There's nothing extraordinary. And he's like, what? Everything about you is extraordinary. That's why nothing stands out in particular, which is a sweet dad thing to say. A little bit weird.
Like, we see what you're going for.
Yeah. And so they start working on a plan, mainly Tress. And when she finally comes up with a plan, which is based on the inspector, like, okay, so there's a cargo inspector who makes sure nobody tries to escape and leave the island in cargo containers of one kind or another.
Basically,
And then
picture Professor Umbridge as a dock worker.
Yeah, that's kind of what it sounds like. And then there's a tavern here that makes really great ale that gets exported a lot. So that's another important portion of this whole thing. And actually, it says that another export is feathers from the gulls. So I guess they have seagulls too, but I mean, they can't fish in the spores. They would die. So I still don't know how they live, but... And so Tress has an idea, but she's like, I don't think we can manage it because I'd have to involve Brick and Grimmy and Soar, and I don't want them to get in trouble. I couldn't possibly ask that of them because she never asks people for what she wants. We've established this many times up to now.
You know, Dak, you may have some. There may be some credence to your theory there. They've mentioned 2 birds so far, both of which could not survive on the Spore Sea. So, like, what is he talking about with these birds?
Unless they've evolved to
Eat
to-
spores.
to survive in this spore-laden environment.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure. You can't dive down and grab things with your mouth when if you get spores in your mouth, then they'll turn into vines and kill you. So, I'm not sure what their evolutionary thing would be, but I guess it's possible.
Well, do birds have wet mouths? I mean, I guess pelicans do when they put water in their mouth, but
Interesting point.
Yeah.
Also, I don't know if there's any fish or anything living in the sea. So
yeah, I don't know enough
It's a
about
moot
bird
point.
anatomy. Clearly,
Do we have any
yeah.
ornithologists who listen to the show?
yeah.
Yeah.
Write in. Tell us about
right in.
birds.
Do birds have wet mouths? There you go.
Yeah,
Question of the week.
because they don't really like.
I don't want to Google that.
I don't know that they need saliva, right? They just kind of like swallow their food.
But so she won't ask them to do this, but her dad is like, you know what? I got this. And then this whole section is really fun to me about like Lem is not a poor man in the way that matters. Like her dad, who is horribly injured from an accident in the mines and has to hobble everywhere, like he's this guy who's always helping other people out. And so in the currency of the people of this island, like lots of people owe him. But he doesn't go and ask people for favors. he goes down to the bar and they play darts, which the whole thing about the dart board and like the Duke's balls and stuff is also kind of funny. But we don't need to go into all the details.
There's just a lot of really good lines in this book. If we had made a note of all of them, we'd be here forever.
Yeah, exactly. Like the narration is just great. Okay, so
yeah,
but yeah, he kind of drops hints where he plays darts with a guy and he's like, oh hey, like Gremmy, didn't you do this thing for Gremmy? So like Gremmy owes him a favor. This guy owes Lem a favor. He sits down and he drops enough hints just through mentioning things that people have done for other people that the very next day, the three guys he's needing something from show up at his house and are like, Tress, whatever you're doing, we're here to help you. And just, yeah, the way the whole thing is described, I think, is really fun and clever.
Yep.
And so we go through the plan. They're loading up these kegs onto this boat. Oot's Dream is the name of the boat. It has authorization to purchase ale here from the king. You have to get authorization from the king for anything you want to take away, apparently. And the inspector shows up a little after being summoned because she has to examine everything. She has like a stethoscope to listen to the kegs to make sure no one's hiding in there. And then she kicks one over and it goes thump and then it goes ouch. And she's like, ha, I gotcha. You thought feathers as insulation would fool me, but I caught you. And so I don't know if you guys noticed, because I don't think I noticed the first time, when she kicks the keg over and a raven-haired young woman is hiding inside.
No, I noticed immediately. I'm like, raven-haired?
Yeah.
She's not raven-haired.
Yeah, I caught that straight away. It's like, okay, what's actually going on here?
Because they've made a big deal this whole time about how her hair's brown.
Yep. So, well spotted, but it's like, oh no, you caught this woman trying to sneak off the island, and she's like, oh, this couldn't have been managed without help, the inspector says. This is a conspiracy. I'm going to report this to the king immediately. He warned me about you people. And so she is going to get on the boat to go and report to the king. And it's like, and then it goes, you might have noticed that the young woman hiding in the barrel was not Tress. So you might think she was in one of the other kegs, but no, she wasn't hiding in the cargo at all. She was the inspector. And that is where we end our section.
What happened to the actual inspector?
They murdered her. But yeah, so there is the first, that was like 12%. No, that's, 12% of this book that we've already gotten through. Our first secret project, and we're past the 10% mark after our first reading. So let's move into predicaments. We're going to read, let's see here. We're going to read chapters 8 through 15 next time. Which is, I believe, that's 8 chapters? Yes, that is 8 more chapters, 8 through 15. So, where are we going? What's going to happen?
Well, I feel like, ultimately we've only read a very small portion of the book, and she's already well into, here's her journey kick-started. We know who she is. We know what she's after. We know where she's after it. So it's like, okay, so this is going to be like sort of one of those road trip movies where it's like, these are all the random shit we encountered on the way. So I guess that's what this is going to be. I don't really know what she's going to encounter along the way, just because I still don't really know. Like we talked about, the birds and the spore seas, and like, do the different colored seas do different things to people? Different spores have different effects. I don't know. So I mean, they say the ocean, like some oceans are more dangerous than others, so presumably they have different, more dangerous effects.
Yeah, that's what you'd think, right? How else could they be more dangerous? Yeah.
Yeah, so I don't really know what she's going to encounter, because we don't really know what life is like on places not Diggins Point. So I'm kind of just like, I just want to just strap in and let's sit next to a campfire and let Hoyd tell us this story of and I'm just enjoying it. I do get the sense that the sorceress isn't going to be quite the villain that she's been made out to be. Maybe she keeps Charlie around because, he's kind of amusing. I like him. And maybe she and Tress will actually just get along fine, and then they'll team up together. That might be fun. But yeah, beyond that, I don't really have anything. I'm just like, this is a great start, and I just want to see where it goes.
I do like this idea that given the tone of the book, I feel like that would absolutely fit. If you get to the big bad, and it's like, oh, she's not so bad after all.
Yeah.
It's like Like Scott Pilgrim and Nega Scott. We're like, no, he's a really great guy. We're gonna get brunch.
Yeah, we're gonna do brunch. He's a pretty sweet guy.
Yeah.
Oh man.
So okay, is that the okay in this picture? Is that the end of the book? Is like we just get there?
No.
It's like, oh, actually everything's fine,
No.
like what happened?
Maybe like Tress and the Sorceress and Charlie all just come back to Diggins Point and depose the Duke. I get the feelings like the Sorceress, like they say, oh yeah, the Sorceress like sends ships out to raid the other seas, and it's like maybe just because the king attacked her first and she's defending herself, so maybe like maybe they all come back to Diggins Point. I feel like the Duke is like our real antagonist here because like he's the asshole dad. So like we'll come back. Maybe we'll feed into a pelican. That'd be fun.
We know very little about the king at this point, but given the little we do know, it wouldn't surprise me if it turned out he was an asshole and was the aggressor in this fight.
Yeah. Plus, like we've talked before about how Brandon has written books where it's like you set up this clearly obvious bad guy, and then it turns out they're not the bad guy and someone else is. So we haven't
secret bad guy.
We haven't had secret bad guy for a while.
It seems like Tress is going on this journey on her own among all the characters that we've met so far. So if anyone that we have met was going to be the secret bad guy, I guess we wouldn't see them again for a while, probably. Unless Tress is the secret bad guy, which that would be weird.
I highly doubt that.
There's a turn at the end. Yeah, that would not be a good book. I feel like
I was the sorceress all along.
Now bow down before me. It's like, wait, what?
She's like practicing her stand-up routine. It's just like on the backs of all the people she's conquered, and she just goes, here's a funny one. What do you get when you cross me? Beheaded.
That's a good stand-up joke. I'll also remember that for when I'm king of something.
Man, where are we going? I do like embarking on this new book and taking a break from Stormlight because there's just so many possibilities, right? And it's like we don't really know enough to be like, well, I don't want to say this because I don't think that's going to happen. We can say anything. So I am going to just shoot for the stars here. I think Tress is going to need some help, right? So like on her adventure to find Charlie, she's gonna like set up a team. It's going to be a real Dorothy situation here. She's going to get like Scarecrow guy, a Lion guy, and a Tin Man guy, just to help her out. They don't all have to be guys, but just some friends that have a set of skills. They have a certain set of skills, like Liam Neeson. And I think she's gonna hook up with some friends, and they're gonna help her because Tress is just really nice. And so they're like, you know what, we should help this girl. She's nice. And I think she's gonna learn some tricks and like be a little more of an adventurer. She's gonna get by on her wit and her charm. And I think we're just in for a fun little adventure. And I kind of agree with Dak. I think we're gonna get there, and then maybe the sorceress isn't the bad, right? It's like, oh, she's just kind of doing her own thing, and she may not even be a sorceress, right? It would be funny if she was just like a lady who had power, and they're like, because she's powerful, she must be some kind of sorceress.
She's a witch burner.
Yeah, exactly. Does she? She weighs the same as a duck, so they're like, oh, okay, tis a fair crop.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway, yeah, I think we're gonna meet some new friends. We're gonna have an adventure. We're gonna find Charlie, and then we're gonna discover who the bad is once we get to Charlie. If it's somebody other than the Duke and the King, and I think I don't know. Charlie doesn't strike me as the type of person who would want to be a Duke. So maybe they'll just go off on their own and they won't go back to the Salt Rock. But Tress does love her family, so there's kind of that like, what will they do once they are together again?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to read this. It'll be fun little break and a fun new adventure. And if we get more info about who Hoyt is talking to, that'd be cool too. But yeah,
I like the Wizard of Oz parallel. That could be a lot of fun. The sorceress as the wizard. Not that she's going there because she wants the wizard to help her, but yeah, like it's kind of a similar. That's fun. I wonder. Yeah, I want to see who our Scarecrow and Cowardly Lion and stuff are. This is a fun idea. You have to keep track of this now as we go. We're gonna meet somebody and it's gonna be like, is this our Scarecrow?
Yeah, who is this?
Oh, okay. So, yeah, new book. Hard to make predictions, but a couple of things. So I agree. I think the Duke is going to end up being our big bad for the book. I think maybe he's got something on the king, which is why the king has to keep him happy.
Oh.
So maybe the king is not sort of in cahoots, but is being blackmailed. So I think maybe halfway through the book we'll find Charlie. He'll be fine. Maybe the sorceress is a bit of an ally. I think that Tress will probably learn that the world isn't what they're led to believe. I'm trying to get past it, like, why is no one allowed to leave? And I think that the rock or Diggins Point, there's something there that's too valuable. They have to have people there. One, because if they don't have people there, they'll lose control of it. But then whatever they're exporting, like, it's got value to the rest of the planet. So it feels like there's too much control of what is allowed to leave. Like, why wouldn't your people be allowed to leave? People can come and go, but if you live there, you have to stay. It feels really weird. It feels almost a little what's that movie, Jim Carrey?
The Truman Show.
The Truman Show, like, I don't think they're being watched necessarily, but they have to stay there because they don't want them to know something, or they don't want them to leave. So like Tress is talking about, that feat, like, it's super dangerous over there and it's super dangerous over there. It's like, is it though? Like the little butterfly over the Red Sea. Like, what I'd like to see is that the cups are kind of not clues about where Charlie's been, but like she'll be able to learn things about these places. And like, I'm not sure how the cups. I want to see more about the cups. Like, I know they've been clues that he's left. Well, not clues, but like gifts that he's left for her, and she loves collecting them. But I kind of want to see them woven into the story. And like the butterfly, the suicidal butterfly was not actually a suicidal butterfly. And then she's learned like new things about the world, and I don't know, can free the people of Diggins Point from the Duke and allow them to go and visit other beautiful places. Is what I'd like to see anyway.
I love this. I love this Truman Show idea where, I mean, clearly it's unlikely that Tress is Truman and that everything is, built around her like it was him. But no, this idea that like they're being lied, the people on the island are being lied to about what's off the island. That's a really clever thought. Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
But it's also a cool idea that, because if the story ends and Tress hasn't done something to help all the other people of Diggins Point before the end, it would be a little bit sad. It's like, but all those other people are still trapped, huh? Oh, well.
Yes, I think like by the end of it, she would have to have, resolved whatever the issues, main plots are, or whatever. And that's what I was saying. If this is Hoyd telling the story and he's telling someone the story, I thought there's going to have to be like a moral or a point to the story that whoever he's telling is going to get out of it. So I don't know. I feel like hopefully as we pick up clues as we go on, we'll be able to, I don't know, more see where the story is going. What do we need that character to learn? Are we allowed to know? Is it a character we know?
And I think I may have misled you slightly. I don't believe that there's enough information to get a specific character, but you find out about like where, like the people from what planet is he telling the story to, essentially.
Oh, okay. Right.
But I think this just proves that you're nicer than me, because after Tress left the island here, when I first read the book, I did not give a second thought to all those other people stuck on this island, unable to leave at this point in the book.
No,
so good on you.
And like they seem fine. Like everyone's kind of taking it in their stride, right? They've got a way of life and they deal with it. But I can't imagine having to like eat and drink salty food forever. Like if that's all you know, I guess that's all you know. But like,
yeah, that doesn't sound great now that you say it like that.
There's got to be better.
Yeah. Fair point. Okay. Well, cool. All right, we've been putting emails off for a while, so let's see if we can get through a few of these today. Now that we've all predigged. The chapters in this book also have titles, but I don't think we'll do like we've been doing for Stormlight. Talk about the titles beforehand. They're very simple ones. Like these chapters were the girl, the groundskeeper, the duke, the son, the bride. So they're not as prosaic as the Stormlight titles. So I find them less interesting in that way. But emails, we got a bunch. Let's start with this one. Is from Joe. I assume not Joe on.
No, I did not write into our own show. I have written into the other Sanderlanche
That's true, yeah.
podcast.
We actually had an email on a recent episode that was like, "Is Dak still following along with the show?" And I was like, "I think they mean Joe." Because I don't think Dak was. Joe
No.
wrote in and said he was following along. I don't think Dak was.
No, I
and
I have not commenced reading those books.
I'm a little behind, honestly. I've been doing other things, so I'll pick back up eventually.
We just started the second book, so.
Yeah.
Anyway, this email from Joe was called Star Wars Opinion. Hey, on the recent episode of the podcast, you were talking about Star Wars and even asked for our opinion on the sequels. So I'm taking you up on the offer and doing just that.
Did we ask for that?
I think we did, yeah.
It's been a while because I bet this email's been cooking for a while. So.
Yeah.
This email is from like 2 months ago, so yeah.
Yeah. I do vaguely remember that because we started a conversation about Last Jedi and how it sucked.
He says, whether people like the prequels or not, one thing everyone can agree on is that George Lucas had a plan for all 3 movies. He knew the points he wanted to hit and what the storyline would be through all 3 movies. When it comes to the sequels, this was not the case. It's obviously clear that when they started the movies, they had no plan or idea where it was going to go. They were just winging it as they went. There was going to be a different director/writer for all 3 of the movies, and there wasn't a person above them with oversight for where the story was going. Eventually, the 3rd director was dropped, and they just went back to Abrams. It is possible to have different directors for all 3 movies. George Lucas didn't direct Empire Strikes Back or Return of the Jedi, but he was still there to provide oversight on the plot, so those movies flowed nicely with each other.
I'm just going to interject here. That is correct as far as the prequels and sequels go, yes. But if you look up the production notes for the original trilogy, they were constantly in flux. Like there's a reason.
Yeah.
There's a reason. Like the George Lucas special editions, like on VHS and then on DVD and then on Blu-ray, he made changes every single time. It's because like he didn't have the consistent plan for those. So yeah, it's like yes, the prequels had a consistent plan and the sequels didn't, and the sequels suffered for it. But the not having a clear plan worked for the original trilogy. So let's give credit where it's due.
Well, and part of the issue with the original trilogy was also it's like he wants to do things, but then budget doesn't allow to do these things, so we have to figure out something else. But it's also indicative of the biggest George Lucas problem, in my opinion, is that he can never leave well enough alone.
Yeah.
Whether it's in the middle of making these movies or later when he goes back, he's always changing,
making changes.
Changing, yeah.
Oh yeah. Because I think I remember reading somewhere it's like Attack of the Clones was pretty much almost done, and as in like a lot of the filming had been done, like a lot of the editing, special effects were close to completion, and then Lucas comes in and goes, "Let's add something in here," and that's why there's that whole thing in like the manufacturing plant on that planet where R2-D2 starts flying and shit. That was a very late addition.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Like just because Lucas said, fuck it, add something in there. And it's like, maybe the movie needed an action beat there, but did it need R2-D2 flying? Probably not.
I thought you were going to say that's why Yoda has a fight scene in this movie, because he was just like, hey, you know what? I want to see Yoda fighting.
I think everybody wanted to see Yoda fight.
Oh, 100%.
Come on.
Okay, back to the email. He says, it's just so frustrating to watch the movies because it just doesn't make sense. Plot threads set up in the first movie get unceremoniously dropped in the second movie, i.e. Snoke. Plot threads in the second movie just get dropped or reverted in the third movie, i.e. Rey's parents and Kylo Ren's mask. The third movie has stuff like Palpatine suddenly when there was no setup for that in the first 2 movies. It also doesn't help that they pumped out movies every 2 years, so they didn't even give themselves time to slow down and plot things out. There are just countless examples of how their way of making those movies did not work. Personally, for any post-Return of the Jedi content, I like to stick with the old Star Wars EU books, which are now called Legends. These have much better storylines for what happened to the characters afterwards. Sure, there are some pretty bad books included in there, but there are also some great books, like the X-Wing series, and the Thrawn trilogy. Also, the EU books include one of my favorite overall Star Wars characters, Mara Jade. I'm pretty glad that Disney never used her because they likely would have messed her up. And I'll pause there to agree that I like the Thrawn trilogy, and I have heard many people tell me that Mara Jade, however you say her name, is one of their favorite Star Wars characters.
I've heard that too, yes.
I don't know that I haven't read all that much with her because I'm not hugely into the Star Wars books. What I've seen of her, I'm like, yeah, she's okay, but I'm glad people like her. finishing off the email. If you've never read any of the old Star Wars books, I highly recommend it. If you want to know somewhere to start, my personal favorite is to start with the books after A New Hope and go in chronological order. So start with Scoundrels, Allegiance, Choices of One, etc. If you don't know how much you actually want to read the books but are still curious, then read the Thrawn trilogy. These books are what kickstarted the whole EU, and even to this day are considered some of the best. Thank you for listening to my Star Wars rant from Joe. This is actually Joe from the Cosmere Chronicles. That's their,
Oh, cool.
the host of that show. So
Nice.
Yeah.
I didn't even mention when we were on there. I should have been like, hey, we have a Joe.
I'll say I will agree with pretty much everything you said about the sequel trilogy. Like, there are things about it I liked and things about it I disliked, but I'm not going to argue any of your points. I think they're all pretty well made. I will say, just because the sequel trilogies I don't think are very good doesn't mean the prequels are good either. I've seen a lot of people say, well, the prequels are better than the sequel trilogy. I'm just like, that's a low bar. Like,
I would argue that some of the beats in the prequel trilogy are very good.
yes, I'll agree with that, but
Sure.
like, the last time I tried, like, the common agreement is Revenge of the Sith is the best of the prequel trilogy. And I'm like, that's, again, low bar to clear. I tried watching that again reasonably recently, and I couldn't. I just couldn't. I'm like,
It's pretty hard to rewatch now, I agree. I think Phantom actually holds up a little better now than Revenge of the Sith.
it's been that long since I've seen it. Like,
Yeah,
I would say that Revenge of the Sith is good for one reason. They pushed the fight choreography like to a new level
yeah.
in that movie. All lightsaber fights before that film were good, but I think that film has some of the best lightsaber fights of the first 6 films.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I'd agree with that. I think it's telling that the best Star Wars movie was the one where Lucas was heavily involved but didn't direct, and that's Empire.
Yeah, yeah, Empire.
Interesting. While you guys were talking about that, I was looking through the Legends books to see how many I've read. Other than the Thrawn trilogy, which I've read a few times, I haven't read a lot of these. In my library when I was in college, they had the New Jedi Order books, and I read the first one, Vector Prime, and did not like it, so I never read any more of those. And then, so that's interesting.
Yeah,
might have to go and try sometime.
I tried some of the Star Wars books when I was younger, and I was like, I won't knock the quality of the books because I think they were all books, but because I had in my head an idea of what the Star Wars movies, I'm just like, this doesn't feel like Star Wars to me. It felt like something else. I couldn't get very far into the books. I think I read like the first 4 X-Wing books, and they were pretty fun. But yeah, it's I think I've mentioned it before. I struggle when you have a story in one medium that then has a sequel or a tie-in in a different medium. Trying to reconcile the two in my brain, just it never really seems to fit.
Interesting.
Yeah, like the Firefly comics. Like, there was nothing wrong with them, but they just didn't feel like Firefly to me.
Yeah, it's funny you said that, 'cause when you said that, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, the Firefly comics, some of them are good, some of them not so much. They did several Firefly novels, and I have some of them. I haven't gotten around to reading them yet.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if those are any good.
Yeah. And maybe that's held me back from a lot of really good material. Like, I never picked up the comics based on like Avatar: The Last Airbender.
There are some really fun stories in those Avatar comics. Those I have.
But it's just like, I just feel like it just wouldn't be the same. And maybe that's on me. Like, I'm not trying to downplay the quality of tie-in material, except the Halo books, they suck. But yeah, for the most part, I'm just like, there's tie-ins in different mediums. They're just not for me. I struggle enough. As a massive MCU fan, like, when they made the jump to making series, I'm just like, oh, come on. And like, I still watched them, and a lot of them I really, really like. But yeah, it's just like, it's not what this franchise was.
I think I will say some of the Firefly comics are definitely worth reading, like the Shepherd's Tale, just to find out like books history and stuff. But I think that the transition is maybe the least jarring in the Avatar: The Last Airbender comics, because they look and feel more like, the characters are already animated. Seeing them on the page, the designs haven't changed, and so
that's a good point.
They look very the same. I feel like, and you're also continuing with a lot of the same story. Like, I think one of the first major Avatar comics was about Zuko's mom, and which was brought up in the show and never resolved. So that may have been the least jarring of those for me. You might try that if you want, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, that was Joe's email. Thank you, Joe. Let's do one or two more. The next one is from Angela 2, who sent us one not too long ago. She says, I love that curling got brought up on the podcast. My husband and I used to obsess over it every 4 years when they would put a few games on during the Olympics. We tried it for the first time about 10 years ago when we found out there was a club not far from us, and we were instantly hooked. We've been
Wow.
curling, yeah,
Cool.
right? We've been curling in regular leagues for about 7 years now, and our daughters have picked it up as well. The curling community is absolutely the best people I've ever met, and it's always a fun time, win or lose. I love that it's a gentleman's game. No matter what level you play at, you always shake hands with the other team before and after the game, wishing each other good curling. And even though there are officials at higher levels, their involvement is minimal, and teams are often left to self-govern the game. I'm going to pause because that's way more about amateur curling than I've ever known, and that sounds super cool.
Yeah, that is cool.
It makes sense, but it's like I didn't know there was like amateur curling. That's really cool.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
awesome.
I'm
Actually,
just like,
That's
probably doesn't exist down here. And then I googled it. It's like there is an Australian League of Curling. So like, oh,
yeah. I mean, it makes sense, right? Australia probably represents at the Olympics, which is coming up in a couple weeks.
Ooh, I didn't even know that. See, I don't pay any attention.
Yep, Winter Olympics coming up.
Maybe I'll watch some curling this year. You are correct that curling gained some attention in the U.S. when the men won Olympic gold in 2018. I really do think part of it is that they looked like ordinary guys instead of athletes, so it made the sport seem accessible to anyone. And it absolutely is. There's wheelchair and deaf curling. Many U.S. clubs saw an increase in membership after those Olympics, but we lost a lot of progress when COVID hit.
Yeah, makes sense.
I wish curling could gain some more popularity in the U.S. because it's still pretty much impossible to watch the pros on non-Olympic years unless you want to pay for yet another streaming service.
ugh.
That's why we need ESPN 8 the Ocho, you know?
That does exist.
But it's like once a year or something.
Yeah, you're right.
Even the Olympic trials had sparse network coverage this year. For better or worse, I've become a pretty big Canadian curling fan because all their major events are available for free online the day after and sometimes live.
Nice.
Right? Anyway, I don't want to. Don't have anything to say about the actual Sanderlanche related stuff. It's really exciting that you guys talked about curling for a while.
Hey, that's all right.
That's fine.
We talk about a diverse amount of topics on here. That's great.
Yeah, like I actually really like it when it's like we just bring up something random and then someone chimes in and says, it's like, you brought up this thing that I really, really love. I'm like, oh, I'm glad. You know what? I'm happy you feel seen.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's feel good.
Like, oh
it's
my
feel good
gosh.
time.
Yeah.
I love that. Yeah. She finishes. I had to write in and put in a PSA for the crew and anyone else to go look for your local club and give it a try. Good Sanderlanching from Angela 2. So thank you, Angela. That is awesome. I love that. It's actually I just rewatched Dodgeball not long ago, and the first thing that gets brought up about ESPN 8 the Ocho is like the amateur curling championships. So that's fun.
Yeah, didn't we talk about that? Because I watched it we talked about it on the show for a minute, and I was like, yeah, it's good, but it's it's not it's not a great movie to watch in this day and age.
No, yeah, you're right. I was actually, to be fair, I actually didn't watch it recently. I watched a YouTube video of somebody watching it for the first time. I've been the last couple of months. I've been big on that. I've been watching lots of people react to movies and TV shows that I like while watching it for the first time, like Avatar, Firefly, all that kind of stuff.
Makes sense.
It's been fun.
Firefly has to be bittersweet, right? Because it's like they're watching for the first time. They're like, "Oh, this is great," and they're like, "Wait, there's no more."
Yeah, usually they
20
know
years
all
ago.
along that there's only one season, so they're just like, "This is so great," but I'm already like, they get 3 episodes in, and they're like, "Oh, I'm already feeling the fact that there's like 10 episodes left or whatever." So, yeah, it's definitely bittersweet. Especially, I mean, I actually think what got me started on the whole thing of watching people react to stuff was I saw a thing where somebody was reacting to Serenity, and I was like, I have to see their face at the moment where that character,
we know
the leaf.
Yeah.
And then I
Leaf
fell
on the
down a
wind.
hole of like watching different people react to that, and then watching them react to other things. And anyway, somebody's doing Babylon 5 that I've been watching, and I love Babylon 5, and not many people talk much about it, so that's been fun. But anyway, let's do one more. This one has a 5-star rating attached. So
nice.
this says 5-star greetings from the past. Greetings from years past. I apologize for a potentially long email. I found the Sanderlanche via Don't Gaslight Me, Jesus. You folks do an amazing job. Your handling of folks sharing their reading experiences made me feel compelled to write in. I have listened to all the Stormlight books so far. I have a hard time sitting down to read, so audiobooks are my go-to. My introduction to Sanderson was a free copy of Elantris on Audible. I started Stormlight right after. I had no clue how connected the Cosmere could be. I sadly have no real interest in starting the Mistborn series. There's plenty to keep my time occupied with Stormlight. I'm currently on episode 209 in Words of Radiance. I'm enjoying this ride with you all very much. It truly reminds me of why I've enjoyed the books to begin with. I left a 5-star review on Podcast Addict, as I've used the app longer than Spotify has existed. Screenshot attached. Review posted as Genosaurus. Considering
I've never heard of that app.
Podcast Addict, yeah, it's like a podcast catcher. There are several apps like that just
that makes
grab
sense.
podcast feeds from other platforms, and you can get
Just
them all in
compile
one place.
them.
Yeah. And so, depending on what features each one has, some people prefer one over the other. And
Yeah, makes sense.
considering I only know what you all have shared about Mistborn, please don't waste a misting power on me. However, if you have swapped to Radiant powers, may I request Edge Dancer? Mostly due to the fact that I like food. Thank you all so much. I'll be listening as long as you're willing to record. Something, time of next, Cholo, PT Barnum, Genosaurus from Oregon.
Well, Genosaurus, you're great. We do have a way we do things around here, and I think we decided last week, which of course you're not going to get to for a while, that you got to take the quiz to figure out what Radiant you are. I'm not gonna hand those out. You got to take the quiz. It's the official quiz.
Apparently, people be getting Edge Dancer left and right, though. So
Really, that's interesting.
Well, we talked about it in our chat. Like Jamie and Dak both got it, and then they knew somebody else who got it, and my wife got it. Yeah. Or maybe it was you were the one who said that somebody else. Anyway, lots of people have gotten Edge Dancer in our personal circle.
Yeah. But yeah, you got to go to the quiz. It's the thing to do. But you will get a mystic power. I know you're not interested in Mistborn, but that's what the 5-star review gets you at the on Sanderlanche podcast. But you know what? You're a cool cat. I like your what you had to say. I'm gonna give you one that I don't give out a lot. Seer. I think that one's fun.
Ooh, that is a good one. You should describe what it does real quick, since he doesn't know anything.
That's right. So Genosaurus Seer is somebody who can use Adium, which lets you see into the future. Slightly.
Yeah. Only slightly. Oh, and they actually, the review says, "Thank you for helping me remember how fun the Stormlight ride really is what the review said. So awesome, Gene. Thanks. We appreciate you. Hopefully, even though you're not a big Mistborn person, you can enjoy your misting power. Let me do one more because it's pretty short, and then we'll wrap up. I'm just trying to whittle down our box a little bit. This one is from Ben from Nebraska, and it says, "Finally caught up. Hello, crew. Assuming you're all still together. I've been waiting a long time to send this email. I found your podcast as I was finishing Hero of Ages and wanted to catch up to where you were at in the books before sending something out. I just finished Oathbringer and am working my way through the pod as well. But I'm quite a bit behind there. I just finished the Lost Metal. I assume that the episodes. You finished the Lost Metal episodes. I always enjoy hearing the theories and confirmations of things, even as I am so far behind. The fact that I never thought Shy could be Moonlight is a perfect example. Oh, that's interesting that someone... I guess it never occurred to me, being so deep in it, that I was like, oh, that's clearly Shy. But not everybody might get that, so that's cool. I just wanted to say I cannot wait to hear Dak's volcano theory for Stormlight Archive, and hope that eventually I get caught up in all the areas, and I hope that is before Era 3 comes out. Not sure if you're talking about the name of it or not. Oh, I have mentioned that Era 3 is called the Ghost Bloods. So thanks for everything you do and the joy I get from listening. Ben from Nebraska." Awesome. I also hope you get caught up before the Era 3 comes out, Ben. We appreciate your email. Okay, we got a bunch more, but
I had some crazy theories about Stormlight, but like, there's been so many. There were so many episodes where I theorized so many things.
Yeah, and then we've talked about, the deeper we've gotten into it, the harder it is to come up with stuff. So
yeah,
maybe after we've tressed for a while, we'll come at it with a fresh perspective. All right. Well, if anybody out there would like to send us an email like these folks did, the address is thesanderlanche@gmail.com. Find us on Instagram and Facebook and Patreon, where, as we mentioned, I'm still posting my reactions to Isles of the Emberdark as I read it for the first time, and sometimes other stuff like polls about I don't know if we actually got it on the record earlier, but between myself and the Patreon folks, we picked some stuff to send to all of the people on the show after they got their Radiant order. So people got some Spren plushies. That was the big vote from the Patreon crowd, was plushies were absolutely necessary. So those have gone out. There were some, Joe's going to get some socks. Dak and Jamie got some dice and charms and pin and things. So you can see stuff like that and get to vote on various things if you join the Patreon. Also, if you join the Patreon, Joe will assign you a fairing power. And if you leave us a 5-star review on the podcast platform of your choice and send us an email with a picture of it, Joe will assign you a misting power, as he just did. Against somebody's will, even. Like, you're going to be a misting and you're going to like it, sir. So
That's right. Get used to it.
We appreciate all of you. Thank you for emailing. People on the Discord, you can join the Discord. There's a link at our website, www.thesanderlanche.com, if you want to join up there. Thank you to everybody who just shows up every week and listens to us. We appreciate you all. Remember, for next time, we're reading 8 more chapters of Tress. That is chapters 8 through 15. So another decent chunk of this book is going to be under our belts. I think there's 64 chapters total in this book. So we are progressing. And I think everyone has started out this book pretty excited about it. So it'll be fun to see where we go from here. 8 chapters for next time. Music by Miracle of Sound. Remember, Granny Whale, however you say it, is our new song for this time. Hope you guys like it. And Wasing to the Time of Next. Colo, P.S. Fasher. Crabs Ahoy! Oh man, we're going to need something for each of the Secret Project books. We've done one for like full novels on new worlds for everyone so far.
Nah. I feel like that's too much work.
I'm going to stop.
Our sign-off is going to be way too long at that point.
It's going to be the whole episode is going to be sign off at some point.
Rabbit
right.
B, Pelican.